Module 5, Part 2. We are talking about crisis management, communication, and public relations during a crisis. This module part will focus more heavily on the external. Part 1 focused on the internal, so this will focus on our external audiences. So just a reminder, the challenge of social media. We have to be careful about the reliability of content, just like the Wikipedia. Remember that many of the brief messaging formats need to be supported by more thorough formats, such as your TV, radio, and press releases. And also, incoming messages often need to be filtered because they are coming from first responders, bystanders, and others on various social media platforms, and they've not been confirmed. So, the role of the external communications liaison. This individual directs and approves the organization's messaging to media, funders, governmental agencies, and other external stakeholders. They take the organization from an it to a we and become a critical human connection during a crisis. And the main function of your external communications liaison include working with the incident commander and leadership to confirm what is the appropriate messaging at the time, updating the organization's communication outlets, and managing incoming press inquiries. A question that often comes up is, how do you communicate with conviction and compassion? So when we hear of a crisis, we simplify, listen to the first message we hear, we hold on to our current beliefs, and we search for additional information. Then fear, dread, uncertainty, hopelessness, helplessness, possibly denial, and panic. So the language needs to address both the stage and severity of the situation. Be careful not to over-reassure. Do acknowledge uncertainty. Emphasize we are learning as we go. Give anticipatory guidance. Be regretful, but not defensive. Acknowledge the fears and shared misery. Address the what if questions. You have probably in the past watched newscasts where you can sense just the fear and the dread in the individual sharing the information. But you've also seen newscasts where the person does do just that. Try to give anticipatory guidance, keep the language simple, and acknowledge fear. So sharing what we know. How do we communicate what we know in that liaison role? We've already discussed speaking honestly and putting good news in secondary clauses. So for example, it's too soon to say we are out of the woods yet, but we have seen no new coronavirus cases in 4 days. This says we are taking the situation seriously, but also includes reassuring messaging without over-reassuring. We need to show empathy and caring, competence, expertise, honesty and openness, commitment and dedication, and accountability. And remember the 3 C's. First one is control. We are in control of the situation. The second is competence. We have competent professionals working on it. And the third is concern. We care. Here's how you can help. When being interviewed by the media, and again, hopefully your organization has appointed one spokesperson, but if an incident continues on, you'll need more than one because of the time. Have a clear purpose, a core message. You'll seek opportunities to repeat or restate that core message. You'll make sure the reporter gets the correct name of the person being interviewed and uses titles that describe the job. And in this case, it's often not your formal title because you have probably been given a different one during the crisis. And you come to the interview with supporting papers that can be given to the reporter after the interview. Because everybody's in a hurry, they're trying to get their information out to their news sources. So the fact that you can give them a piece of paper that has the exact details and the right data will be very helpful so that the message hopefully gets conveyed correctly. There's a lot of media interview pitfalls. Don't let the reporters put words in your mouth. I often found in the past, when I've had this role myself, is that I practice. We create scenarios, we put on the video recorder, the person asks very loaded questions, and we just practice. And then I do the playback and I can see what I did well and what I really need to improve on. It's very, very helpful. If questions contain leading or loaded language, reframe that question in neutral terms. If an allegation is expressed, check the facts and don't assume the reporter knows. Say, I've not heard of that, or I need to verify before I respond. The microphone. You've answered the question. Then the reporter sticks the microphone in your face. Resist the temptation to add to your comments. Recognize that there's no really such thing as off the record. Assume whatever you say is on the record. And at all means, avoid hypothetical questions. The what if? we don't need to go there yet. Don't raise issues unless you are comfortable with them being on the web. Remember, right now the stage, everybody's got a camera and they use it. Also, general pitfalls of social communication. Limit the jargon and acronyms. In healthcare, we have a lot of them. So try to really describe the words that you're using. Tailor the messages to an easy level of comprehension. Remember, fear and anxiety of those hearing the message. Don't make it overly complex. Don't use a lot of medical jargon. Absolutely do not use humor. We have seen, particularly in politics, how that can backfire and how inappropriate it is. Refute negative allegations without repeating them. Gather feedback. Hopefully it's helpful. And avoid one-liners, cliches, and off-the-cuff comments. Just stick to what you've got written. Stick to what you plan to share. So, after the crisis, again, lots of good material out there in crisis recovery planning. You'll want to survey the team or teams to see how well the plan was followed. How did you learn of the crisis? How was the management process used? What was the most effective about the plan? What was most difficult in carrying out the plan? How would the plan be better improved? And in this module, we're looking at it from the standpoint of communications, both internal and external. So to end this module 5, we're going to listen to an expert. So click on the video to hear Peter Cox, NPR reporter, with myself, Dr. Lynn Keeney, discuss media relationships and how to communicate with reporters. I hope you find it helpful.